You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah, man.
All right, hello. Welcome to another episode of the EJB Talk Show. Today, I have a very special guest, tenor trombone extraordinaire, Dom Ghilglione.
Yeah,
Say that right? Sick.
Yeah, you got it.
But how are you doing today, Dom?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to have you on.
Thank you.
Haven't done one of these in a while, so I gotta warm up. But I'm feeling good.
I got you.
Yeah, man. So, how's your day today? What'd you get up to?
Today has been really cool. Been a very unique day. I started my day off with a lesson from we have the Chicago Symphony Orchestra in Toronto, and I had a lesson with one of the trombonists of the Chicago Symphony, Michael Mulcahy. He plays primarily second, but he does bouncing around, and I had a really amazing lesson with him, just in the third floor of EJB.
It wasn't like a master class, it was like an actual lesson.
No, it was just a straight up one-off lesson. It was fantastic, like an hour, 20 minutes of just talking about sound and musicianship and, how to get proper music through simple technique and air and all these really just fundamental things that we take for granted. And it was such an amazing, he was so well spoken and classy and really easy to talk to, and it's sort of a little dream come true for me in that sense. So I did that. Was late to performance practice class because of it, but honestly it was so worth it. And so I did that, and then I had a really fun rehearsal with my brass quintet. We're in a chamber group.
Nice.
And we're playing some pretty fun stuff for a little master class in a couple weeks, doing a little bit of a non-contrapunctus Bach piece. And what's the other piece we're doing here? I can't remember off the top. Oh yeah, we're doing this really nice little French horn solo called Point Peely. It's really cool. It's by Howard Cable. Look it up, y'all. And then now we're just chilling. I'm on the show, and we're gonna go see Chicago Symphony at Kerner Hall in like a couple hours, which is absolutely, like, the 15-year-old and 24-year-old in me currently is freaking out. So it's gonna be a hell of a time.
I'm like, that's actually sick. I got you today instead of tomorrow because you wouldn't have had that lesson to talk about.
Dude, it was such a life reaffirming thing. Like before this week, I'd kind of I did the concerto comp here at the school, and it was a tough time. I did not do well. I played really badly by my own standards.
Have you done concerto competitions before?
I have, and I have memorized before, and it's been really easy. And I don't know what happened. I think I got in my own head, and I made a mistake, and things happened and went wrong. And but it does happen, and it's something I have to control and move on from as everybody does, right? So a lot of it just really came down to, okay, I have to feel like garbage for a bit, and now I'm in a good swing when things are busy again. So it was just a really nice day to get back on track, and just this whole spectacle has been great. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So you're currently a second-year master student here at U of T. How have you enjoyed U of T so far?
U of T's been fantastic. I of course every school comes with its pros and cons, and not everything is going to be amazing, but I will say, just off the top of my head, my teaching, like my one-on-one experience with my teacher Gordon Wolf, has been absolutely unreal. He's the reason I came, basically just come to Toronto and study here at the school with him, and he's really just allowed me to experience a whole different part of my playing and growth as both a musician and as a person. And like, just the people here have been fantastic, like not only for networking opportunities, but real people that are there and want to be your friend, and they want to hang out, and they want to actually make music with you and be there and support each other, and it's really nice and refreshing. And Toronto's like such a cool city. It's a very different far cry from where I'm originally from, but it's been a great experience overall. I've really enjoyed it. I guess I should say, how have you enjoyed it? Because this is like what year?
This is my second year.
This
here.
is second year.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure it's probably different for you now as
I don't know anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, it's such a weird thing because I got to my second year when I did my undergrad. I got to my second year and I thought, okay, my first year was easily probably one of the worst things I ever done. It was I was in survival mode. I did not plan well. I didn't execute things well. I made a lot of really poor choices. And my second year was, okay, how can I make this better?
Where did you do your undergrad? I usually like go like chronologically from like younger, but I'm actually very curious. Like,
So I guess I'll do that. Like, I was born in Regina, Saskatchewan.
Right.
So shout out to the Sask people out there, my Western Canada folks. And I was born there, raised there, went to high school there, played in the school band program from starting grade 6, all on trombone. Did some euphonium doubling in high school and university, and then I did the music education program at the UVAR. Yeah.
Where?
At the UVAR in Regina.
UVAR, right.
Yeah. So I did that for 5 years. And
5 years?
Yeah.
You did like an extra year?
So, and it's a weird one, but how it worked was at the time when I entered, they changed the program to a 5-year 2-degree program. So I would get a concurrent... I'd be working at the same time for 2 degrees.
Right.
And so what made the difference there was you get a higher bump in as if you're going to teach somewhere, get a higher bump in pay grade your first year.
Right.
So it made a difference.
Does it skip the teacher's college kind of aspect?
It's kind of like direct entry into teacher's college.
Well, okay, I see.
So instead of for those Ontarians that have to go through OISE, basically I would skip OISE and directly go into it at the same time, but I would do most music classes would be my first year and then a few ed courses like kind of interwoven. So it's kind of a long-winded journey a bit, but it was still like really there were some really good aspects about just getting it done, getting the education stuff done, and then focusing on music and the other classes that I need to get finished.
Right.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I usually ask this. This is jumping in like chronological order stuff. But
absolutely.
I always want to stay true to asking this question in every episode. Like, what would you say is your earliest musical memory?
Oh my gosh. First of all, so many to think of. And there's so many people to think about if somebody asked me this question. I've been really lucky throughout my life to have known a lot of really awesome and influential people that have helped me to be where I am and to love music the way that I've been given and have the opportunities that I've been given to show that I can succeed in this environment.
Right.
One of the biggest things I remember doing when I was younger, when I started playing the trombone, I would go to this really awesome jazz camp called the Prairie Jazz Camp. Yeah, I was a jazz kid when I was younger. So you
started with like jazz trombone?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of jazz when I was younger and through university too. But I would go to this camp, and when I was super, super young, not even playing, still probably in diapers, I'd run around the school in the middle of the summer and get people snacks and stuff like that for these guys that are just like ungodly amount of players, and they'd hang out with me, and then I'd start playing in these bands and stuff, and they're like, well, I know you when you were like playing mini sticks in the hallway and all this stuff, and so it's a cool like retrospective to see as a for instance. But that camp really made a huge difference in my upbringing in terms of not even just jazz playing, but just like
being a musician. Yeah,
absolutely, just overall musician skills and the quality of people that have come out of small centers like Regina, Moose Jaw, Saskatoon, and small quote unquote, but then you get in the smaller towns like Yorkton, Weyburn, Estevan, and these are like very obscure names, but for those Sask people out there, and I know there might be a couple, it really does make the difference to have such good quality people out there. So that's kind of like a long-winded way of saying there's a lot, but also like I won't ever really forget the collective way of sort of those early musical memories that helped me trigger to where I am today. So
how did you even like start on the trombone? Was it your first instrument?
Yeah, so the trombone was my first instrument.
Was it through like high school or not?
Yeah,
even?
so when we picked our instruments and stuff, basically what would happen is I would go. They had an instrument night. They do demos, and I'm pretty sure the teacher would come to the school and demo it for us. But I already kind of had made my mind up. Now, for those that know me, both of my parents are music teachers.
Really?
Both my parents are band teachers, and my sister is in school to be a music educator as well. So
she's younger?
Yeah, she's 2 years younger than me. And so basically, my dad was playing the trumpet and had played trumpet pro for a number of years in the symphony orchestra, and my mom was a saxophone player. And like the hope for them was that that their son would pick something that was, one
of the two of them.
Well, maybe not that, but there's something that could fit in a jazz band and in an orchestra.
Right.
And I was kind of like, maybe I would like to do the drums. And there's something. I remember one of the times that I did at said jazz camp that I would go ahead and watch this trombone player go, and I thought, I love the sound. I love the sound and just how brash and like nasty that is.
Right.
And I'm like, this is like my vibe, the trumpet like is like whatever. It's like it's a pretty I shouldn't say whatever. Don't let him know that. Yeah, I shouldn't say whatever, but the trumpet for me is cool, but like something about the trombone just clicked for me, and I was like,
at the time, especially
at the time, and I was like, I loved it. And I remember when I got the note back saying you're gonna play the trombone, I was freaking out. I was like, hell yeah, like this is so awesome. And as they say, the rest is history. And so it's just been really fun. But out of all that, the skills that I've learned to play trombone, I double on euphonium. I've played tuba a few times, and bass trumpet, which is a really obscure thing, but that's a fun one to go into. And it's, I don't think you should limit yourself, especially when you do that kind of thing.
Right. So like, having parents who are musicians, music educators especially, was like at a young age already, you already kind of knew you wanted to go towards music, and especially like music teaching?
I think when I was in grade 10, I was kind of like, they're like, okay, you can start thinking about your future a little bit. And I was like, yeah, I know what I'm going to do. I'm like, I want to do music. Because, I mean, going back to when you're talking about earliest memories, I'm like, there's so many people that are like, that are a part of my life that are in that field, that I see how passionate they are, and I see how driven they are to make success happen, not for them, but for other people. Right. And like, and same with my parents too. I look at them and the people that they've known and the people that they've gotten to know because of music, and I'm like, well, I want the same thing. And
especially as a place of the educator, right? They're so like, they're responsible for so much like great things. Like
they really were. And like, now that I'm older, I see the impact. Right. Especially coming to Toronto as a young person, I'm like looking at it and going like, oh, my parents from 19 and you played in their band, and it's like, this is wild, and I'm working with them as a young professional, right? Which is just kind of mind-blowing to me,
right? Weird full circle.
It's a very much a full circle profession, and I think it's kind of adorable, and it's just so amazing, and I've loved every second of having that, and I really wouldn't have it if it wasn't for them. I don't know if I would ever had pursued, I wouldn't say just because of them, but they were the main catalyst for being like, yeah, I want to be a professional musician at some point, or a music teacher. So
what, I know you you came here because you want to work with Gordon Wolf and stuff.
Yeah.
But like you finished your undergrad in education. How come you still want to pursue an extra level of like, you know, master's in performance? Like
I wasn't done with my, and I wasn't satisfied with where I was at. When I was at the time when I was about to enter my last year, the pandemic had actually just started.
Right. So you graduated 2020.
So I graduated, 2021.
Okay.
So it was another year. So I started I was subbing up to that time in the symphony back home in Regina, and was playing like all the big shows. Like I had done some pretty significant repertoire, which has now come in handy so much in my career. But like at the time I was kind of like, okay, well, this is maybe, and like pandemic, everybody's like, oh sweet, early vacation. It's like, you know, like late March, early April. And then I was like, oh, this is gonna go on for a while now.
Yeah.
And so I started to kind of feel really doubtful of where I was at. But then there is, when I started to do, my last year I had to do some student teaching in a school.
Okay.
And that was extremely difficult. We didn't
like
get a chance.
Zoom?
It was all Zoom
man.
and like computer teaching and stuff. And like, it really took the fun out of band for a lot of kids and the teachers too. And it was just really disappointing. But you know, with the whole like, with the whole playing thing, I mean, I was just not satisfied, and I knew I wanted to do something more.
Like,
with
it's not
playing.
going to end there. You know?
No, and exactly. And I had established a connection with Gord just by, I would fly out to Toronto to go take lessons. I'd be like, this is like, my parents would be like, we're going on a trip, and I'm like, I'm going to Toronto. I know this is what I'm going to do. And I was determined to hopefully have him as a teacher, and he's very kind to accept me here at the school, and it's just been really great. Like the back half of 2021 was a little difficult as just the last push out, but when I got the acceptance letter, I was like, yeah, I knew that this was going to be a good fit, and you know, here we are.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's actually like really interesting because like just based off like this is our first like really long conversation we've ever had.
Yeah.
I can already just like pick up that like what kind of got you into really loving music is the collaborative aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was just like gone. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
it's.
Like,
I mean, it's not just for me, but for everybody in the professionals too. I mean, the other thing about it is like, you know, we come to music school to work with people that are better than us and have different skill sets, and I think that's what makes our job and our vocation so unique and fun. And you know, I don't think there's many environments where people that are invested in the same medium, but they have completely different spectrum of interests, can collaborate and find common ground together. And I think that's what makes our art form so unique to art, and like just the way that we can collaborate with each other. It's fantastic.
Right.
So
you're almost done here at U of T.
Yeah.
You know, so what's next for you after here? Are you looking more in like more educating, taking
who
professional?
knows?
You have no clue.
I mean, I'd like to teach in the city. I mean,
is that what's like the dream like?
The dream
like
job would be to play part-time, like freelancing in the big freelancing scene, like be call in the TSO on a whim, and also teach part-time, like either
within a school
somewhere. Because I don't want to lose that, and I want to develop those chops again more and more, but I also don't want to lose my playing, and I want to keep my playing up to a pretty high level, because I think all the work that I've done here so far, I can keep going, but I'm just trying to take a year off of not going to school. This will be this end of this year will be the 7th year
in a row
post-secondary that I'm like, and I kind of realized that I was like, oh my god, I've been to university and school my whole life, and I don't know what anything else is like after that.
Right.
So now I'm gonna have to figure out what life has to do, like, how life works.
Right.
And like,
it's pretty valuable, you know what I mean?
it is. And like, and it's, I am fearful, but I think it's a good thing that we're going for it, or that I'm going for it. And I want to stay, and ideally I'd like to stay in the city, because you know, the connections, the people, just the experiences and the opportunities alone just scream like excitement for me. And that's what just keeps me ticking in the time bomb here. So
also for the time being, do you plan on staying in Toronto?
I'd love to. Love to. I will go where there's the music
takes you,
and where the music takes me. But Toronto is a great center, and it gets me to where I need to go, and I'll just make it work wherever people are, wherever music needs to happen. That's what I want to do, you know?
Right, man.
Yeah.
I think I'm running out of questions. So
no, you're good.
Before that final, I usually ask a final question, but if you want to ask anything from me, I'll leave this space open.
What's been your biggest? What's been something that surprised you since you've started here? What's an aspect of maybe not even school, but like the environment, or like your studio, or like what's something that you're kind of like, I didn't really expect that, or I wish I had known that going into my degree.
Right. Definitely how nice people are here. Not like yeah, I guess like generally people weren't that kind in my high school and wouldn't react kindly to like things like art or music, right? And like that's from my personal experience.
Fair.
So like when I came here, everyone was just so nice and cool with stuff, and I think even like every day just kind of feeds into that greater thing. Like I'm surprised that people are watching this weird show I started out of nowhere.
No, I think
it's like people are very kind to just like let their interests come into whatever goes on.
Absolutely.
You know,
I think I strike you, and this is the first sort of long form conversation, and first conversation period that we've had like longer than just passing by or just checking in.
Right.
Yeah, like I think you strike me as a person that is willing to go like make social opportunities and make these connections happen. I think more people need to be like that in order to have a viable long-term career in the business, because like and not necessarily brown nosing or anything, but like like those kind of things I think are just so important for us to like build the musical community up.
And even not even just like music or classical music, even just like art, like getting to know other people who are down to just do stuff and make an idea happen is like very something that I've always sought out for like my like city, like East End Pickering. Like everyone from there is like always, there's a lot of people that are always up to something, like artists and like directors and musicians. Like it's like such a little community we have there. So I haven't found as much here, and I'm trying to like kind of bring it over in a little sense,
Well, and one of the best things that I loved about being in Regina is when I didn't like where things were at, I would just start to do stuff. Right. Like I was part of what's now running regularly is the brass quintet at the University of Regina.
Oh wow!
And which was really something that I was like, okay, we gotta just do this. And now it's like you can take it as an ensemble credit, which is cool.
Right.
And like I had my own jazz combo that we ended up doing some like a couple pretty significant gigs that I would organize. And like even if I fell flat on my face, I would go, okay, I think this is a good learning opportunity for me to figure things out and move along. And I think if you can keep doing that, whether you're doing percussion or music or just like general like visual art or whatever in the city, and you've got like the whole city as a canvas to paint, then I think you're kind of unstoppable at that point. So
I appreciate it, man. That was very sweet of you.
No, it's my pleasure.
Yeah. I'll ask that final question. What are some personal goals you have for personal musical goals you have for yourself for the end of the year?
Wow.
Just capping at this year.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to talk about my laundry list of tasks that I have to accomplish. I have put in some tapes for a couple summer festivals, which I hope people out there, if you watch the tape, if you watch this episode, please watch this episode, by the way, like and subscribe for more. But if you if you're out there, like, just apply for things, and then you can take those tapes and be like, okay, there's some good things there, some bad things. So I'm doing a few of those. For me, it's just the final push to the end, mostly just to get my recital done. My recital's really early this year, so I think it's 2 months from today.
Holy!
So I'm like
April 2nd.
Yeah,
God.
so I'm freaking out. I'm like, this is close. This is really close. So, anyway, so we're just gonna kind of go from there, figure things out, and hopefully start those teaching applications soon too, because that's coming up, and I'd like to have a job by the end. And but that's, other than that, it's sort of the first time in my thing where I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I'm never satisfied with what I'm doing musically, and I feel like I can always do more. And one of the other things that I'm really enjoying doing is we're putting together this Bloor Annex Brass Ensemble. Right. Again, we initially had it canceled, unfortunately, because a few people got really sick and whatnot, so we had to make the unfortunate decision to cancel that. So we're doing that, and I'm starting to get into the conducting a bit, and so that's my next goal. Next big thing is to do some conducting shows, see how I do, and just learn from that, and hopefully just keep the momentum going, as they say.
Nice, man. Well, best of luck to you for that.
Thank you.
You've been an amazing guest today.
Oh,
everyone,
thank you.
Dom Ghilglione, check him out in the UTSO concert tomorrow. I'm going to try to get this up tonight.
Yeah, of course.
Save the date for his recital, April 2nd. Check out the Bloor Annex Brass Ensemble when that gets rolling again.
Yeah, man.
And check him out, everyone in Toronto. This guy's killing it.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, thanks for checking in on another great episode.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. It's so great to be on it.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's it. Peace, guys.
See ya.